Have a question number 108. It relates to lease accounting. The ask is to calculate carrying amount of the lease current liability. It is not asking about the lease liability, it is asking about the current portion of the lease liability at the end of the first year, which is 30th September 2014. So the relevant facts from this question are: on 1st October 13, they entered into a 5-year lease. On the first day, they made an initial deposit of 2 million, and then they had annual payment of 6 million that they will pay for the next 5 years. Every year at the end of the year, they will pay 6 million. Present value of the future lease payments is 22745,000, and interest rate is 10%. So these are the given facts. So how much is the current liability? So we need to calculate total lease liability as at 30th September 2014, and then we will calculate total lease liability at 15, So this will be our B, and this is A, you know. So the current portion will be, I think it will be B minus A, right? I mean, what is, it should be B minus A, okay? So because the lease liability that will be on the last day of the next year minus the lease liability that is on the last day of the current year. So difference between these two is the amount that we would pay, the lessee would pay within 12 months, and within 12 months liability should go as current, and the liability that relates beyond 12 months, that should go to the non-current. So let's calculate how much will be our lease liability. So first we need to calculate the interest expense, right? Maybe I will take this headers here. So interest expense. So our interest expense, I will just align to make the presentation a little better. I will align it to the right. All right. So interest expense will be this present value multiplied by this 10%, right? What happened? This present value multiplied by 10%. Oops. It should be the accounting format. So where to change the accounting format from here? Yeah, I need this financial. Yes, and I don't need these decimals. Yeah, so this is my interest. So then my liability before payment, liability before payment is the present value plus the interest. Oops. Hmm. Need to fix this. Give me a second. Not number, I will take the financial, and I don't need these decimals. All right. So before payment, it will be 25019. Then, or we can say that directly here, like then the lease liability will be this much, like present value plus interest, and then we will minus uh, the payments that we have made, like that we will make. So this 6 million. So the lease liability at this date will be 19 million. Same way, the interest expense, on this date, I mean the end of the next year, it will be on this lease liability. We will multiply it by the interest rate. So the interest expense will be this. Then the lease liability will be the beginning lease liability plus the interest expense, and then minus the annual payment that we will do this year also. So this will be 14921, and then the difference. So I said B minus A, it should be A minus B, that we had 19 million of I mean we would have 19 million of lease liability at the end of the period, and then end of the next year it will be just 14921,450. So that means the current portion, current portion of the lease liability, that should be recorded at this date, at this date, 30th September 14 should be this answer 4098050. So the answer should be the B, second one. Yep.